Hey everyone, welcome to Self-Care Sunday. Glad to be with you today. I'm a little tired, but I'm so glad to be here with you and I'm so glad you're joining me. So we're going to take a moment to pause, just to listen to the bell, to take some soft belly breaths, to do a little check-in with ourselves. And so I invite you to just get into a position that feels comfortable for you right now. And just know that you can adapt this however you need to, just to bring yourself into a sense of regulation in your nervous system. So if you need to do something different than soft belly breathing, you can find another way to regulate yourself that you know is going to work for you right now. So, um, yeah, just take a moment to check in, see what you need. Remember that each of us has the power within ourselves to regulate, but that it is a choice. It is a practice. It's something that takes some repetition sometimes to really feel like we're building a foundation around that. So here we go. Take a few moments to feel your breath. Maybe as you breathe in through your nose, saying the word soft. And as you breathe out through your mouth or your nose, saying the word belly internally to yourself, letting your belly be soft, breathing in and out, knowing that you are stimulating the vagus nerve, a nerve that is in our abdomen and all the way up through our chest and throat and around our ears and toward our amygdala. So it's a great way to settle and calm that reactive part of our brain. So yesterday I had the great privilege of doing a mind-body medicine retreat with my staff. And in our organization, Team Peace, we are really committed to the well-being of our team. We feel like that this is part of being a trauma-informed organization, is making sure our team has the support they need for their wellness, particularly their emotional and mental health. It's a lot about walking the walk. So if we're going to ask kids and the adults who support them to focus on self-care and self-regulation and mental and emotional wellness, then we as a team, as an organization, have to be willing to do that work ourselves. And that's what yesterday's retreat was all about. It was a beautiful day of self-regulation practice. And we also did a lot of connecting and sharing within this community space. And the space that we created was intentional, a space that felt safe enough to be real with ourselves and with each other, because that's really how healing happens. So here's something we don't talk about enough. So first I want to just give you a quote from Dr. James Gordon. Dr. James Gordon is the founder and director of the Center for Mind-Body Medicine, and he's also the author, author of a book called Transforming Trauma. And he says, trauma comes to all of us, and its consequences can sometimes be terrible. But the good news is that all of us can use tools of self-awareness and self-care to heal our trauma and to become healthier and more whole than we've ever been. And that has been my experience in doing the Center for Mind-Body Medicine work and all of the other practices and things I've been doing for many years. Something else that's important that we don't talk about nearly enough is about how most of our wounds and traumas are relationship-based. So a lot of our hurts, our old wounds, the things that can still get really easily triggered come from a feeling of things like being made fun of or bullied, or being emotionally neglected or hurt by others, right? So much of our pain, and maybe it feels like trauma to you, comes from relationships. So that means that healing can't happen only in isolation, in a vacuum. Healing has to happen in relationship settings that feel safe enough to do that work in. So that was the intention of this retreat with my staff. It wasn't a space where everybody was forced to talk about their deepest secrets, right? It was a very invitational space where people could share as little or as much as they wanted. That's not what this is, right? That's not what healing in community and in relationship is about. But our retreat was an intentional space that invited each person into their own inner wisdom, into their own lived experience, and trusting that holding the space for that would guide them to their own insights and their own pathways to what they want and need to do for themselves. So some healing, I believe, we can do on our own, but I think it's very limited, and it becomes far more powerful when we are in the presence of others. We hear each other's stories, and in their stories and someone else's stories, we hear ourselves. We hear parts of our own stories. And insight can come from that by hearing a little bit of your own story reflected from somebody else. And you're like, oh, that happened to me. So we don't feel so alone, but also we can gain a lot of insight and wisdom from that. So yesterday, I sat in a circle with these 12 people that I know pretty well. And these are people who are successful, they're passionate, they're loving, they're compassionate with others and kind, they are givers, they are servers, they are generous people, sharing themselves, they're motivated, they're deeply committed to kids and the mental health of our communities, the communities that we serve. And so that's what most people see when they look at these people. That's what I see, right? But do you know what came up when they were given the opportunity and a safe enough space to look within themselves and really look at, like, what is it that I feel like holds me back, or what feels challenging to me? Here were the themes, and I bet these will resonate with you. Feeling not good enough, perfectionism, grief, guilt, a lot of guilt about setting healthy boundaries for themselves, guilt around self-care, taking care of themselves, not just giving, but taking some time for themselves. A lot of guilt around that. We had some people share about some anger from things in their childhood that they're still processing and haven't really been resolved. We talked about how we mask stress and mask a lot of these things and the tension and emotional pain that creates within us. We talked about feeling exhausted by all of it. So these are adults who show up strong and steady in their family lives, in their professional lives, in the community. These are adults who believe in emotional well-being. These are adults who know their brains and nervous systems. And many of them have even, gone to therapy or continue to go to therapy. Yet underneath the surface, these are the things that they, and I say they, but I mean we, it was me too, right? That we carry every day and aren't quite sure how to address. Most of the time, like most of the rest of us, right? Like you probably, we bottle it up. And that can build up. That can create a lot of pressure inside. That can create a lot of tension, right? Why do we do this? Why is this happening? Why is this happening for them and for me? Because there are very few spaces in our lives where it feels truly safe enough to be vulnerable, to be our real selves, to name the things that are living rent-free in our heads and hearts and creating a sense of depletion and worry and anxiety. And guess what? This is why Team Peace exists, and this is where Team Peace comes in. So our core message is simple. We exist to help people be steady and thrive. And one of the steps toward that steadiness and that thriving in the individual and in the community is the normalizing of conversations about mental health and having the courage to have those conversations with yourself, with your loved ones, with your coworkers even, and being willing to try something different. Because for many of us, what we've been doing, it maybe isn't really working. So here's my invitation to you on this Self-Care Sunday. If you are struggling, which many of us are, maybe not in this moment, but when it comes up with these feelings like not feeling good enough, with feeling like you have to be perfect or wanting everything to be perfect in your life, like just so, right? Controlling it all. That was another theme that came up. Feeling guilty, feeling like you have difficulty with self-care or healthy boundaries. Maybe there's grief that you feel like is just hasn't really been processed or doesn't really have space. Maybe fear of trying new things or putting yourself out there. Unhealthy comparison to others, overthinking, overcommitting. Resonate with anyone? Thinking you have to do it all by yourself, right? And if you're tired of these patterns hijacking you, your self-care today is to pause and reflect with me. So we're going to take a moment to grab some paper and something colorful. So if you have any crayons, markers, colored pencils, colorful pens, that will be the most helpful. Now, if you don't have anything colorful, that's okay. Just a pen, a pencil, that will work too. And this is not about being able to draw well. This is not about being an artist. This isn't anything about that. So you have to be willing to try something new, to give yourself a little boost of courage, and just be willing to doodle, draw, whatever comes out. This is about going beyond the conscious mind and a little bit more into the subconscious, okay? So you're going to pause the video if you need to, go grab your materials, and know that this is going to take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. So you won't be on the video with me the whole time. I'll be asking you to pause at different moments for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll kind of do this process as you have time. So if you don't have time right now, that's okay. But I really encourage you to try this at some point this week. So you're going to take out your paper, have 3 pieces of paper, and write number 1, number 2, number 3 on each piece of paper, 1, 2, 3. And I will share with you what each drawing is going to be. So it's helpful if you just relax your body a little bit at first, take a few rounds of breath. And after I give the first instruction for the first drawing, just pause for 5 to 10 minutes, set a timer for 5, 7, 10 minutes, and draw for that amount of time, and then come back and do the second drawing, okay? So in the first drawing, you're just gonna draw a picture of yourself right now and how you feel. So it could be literally like your body or your face, or it could be more metaphorical, more symbolic picture of how you feel right now. So you can use colors, you're welcome to add some words, but try to make it a drawing, see what comes out. So pause now, take 5 to 10 minutes, setting a timer if you need to, maybe put on some soft, relaxing music, and just draw how you feel right now. When you're ready, you can come back and we will continue. So I hope you've completed your first drawing. We're going to move into the second drawing, taking just a few moments to feel the breath, relaxing and softening your breath. And this second drawing is your biggest challenge, issue right now. It could be a pattern, it could be a relationship, it could be an emotion, it could be a thought, negative thought pattern. What is your biggest challenge or issue or problem right now? And just take a few moments, more than a few moments. Take 5 to 10 minutes, pausing the video to take a little time to draw that right now. Your biggest issue, problem, challenge. And then when you're ready, you come back to the video and take a few breaths. And your third drawing is a picture of how you think it would feel to have that challenge resolved. So, how would your life look? Well, how would that relationship look? How would you feel in your body? What would that feel like to you? Would it be freeing, spacious? Draw either your own body, your own expression through like a body figure that represents you, or it could be just colors, shapes, symbols, more of a metaphor. So pause and just give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to do that. And after you've done that, come back to look at your drawings and just notice. What are you aware of in the colors, the shapes, the patterns? Are there any insights? Is there something that popped up that you were like, wow, that was surprising? And how did your body feel? Like, how was it to do that process? Just kind of notice the drawings, your body, taking the time you need for that and pausing if needed. This is something you can do on your own anytime, but it is really powerful to do in a group setting. So maybe the next time you do it, or if you haven't done it yet, you could invite maybe one of your kids or a family member or a friend to do it with you. And then it's helpful, whether you do it by yourself or with somebody or more than one person, to share what you want to share about it. It doesn't mean you have to share every detail. It doesn't mean you even have to show your picture, but to share, like, how was the process for you? What did you notice? How did you notice things changing, or did things stay the same with the different drawings, right? And this can really start to reveal what's actually going on inside of us and gives us kind of a permission and a space to get it out on paper. We see it differently when we're looking at it in a representation rather than just like rolling it over, excuse me, in our heads. So the invitation is to play with this throughout the week, right? And I just want to take a moment to just finish up by saying a couple things that I've been really thinking about. So at Team Peace, we're really committed to reducing the stigma about talking about what's really going on inside of us, because avoiding these conversations has not led to anything good. I see it in classrooms, I see it in families, I see it in government officials and in town council meetings, and in other organizational spaces. I see burnout, I see conflict, and just struggling to find a common ground to relate. And none of it is going to get better if we don't find the courage to do better and do things a little differently. I know you're tired. I'm tired too, but this work is worth our investment. I feel like our vitality is at stake. Our sense of common humanity is at stake. Our sense of thriving as individuals, as families, as organizations, and as communities is at stake. I feel like authentic connection is at stake. And our kids are watching. They are learning about mental health from how we're dealing with it. And I feel like we have to do better. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with us. So I invite you to find your courage and a little bit of gumption to start to really think about this for yourself and your family and what you actually want for your family and community. So not to be shaming or blaming, but like, we need a little bit of like energy behind it. So I invite you this week to try to take moments of setting aside some of that time for yourself, whether it's a few minutes or even an hour, right? Eat good food, stay hydrated, take a few moments for some deep breaths, get good sleep, All of these support not just our physical well-being, but our mental health. And let's normalize this. Let's normalize these conversations, talking about it, and taking care of ourselves. And I wish you so much peace, or at least a journey, some pathways, some things that help to move you more in that direction of finding peace within. Take good care. See you next time.